Muscle cars. They're loud, they're brash, and they're American. But did you know that some of the fastest muscle cars ever made came from the 100-year-old car manufacturer Ford? In fact, in 1967, they built a car so fast and so expensive they only made one. It could outrun Ferraris of its time, and recently sold for $2.2 million. But that is just the tip of the iceberg, because in this video we are going from forgotten classics to modern monsters as we count down the 15 fastest Fords that left their competitors in the dust. Number 15, 1971 Ford Capri Perana V8. So first up, we've got a bit of an oddball, the 1971 Ford Capri Perana V8. This little-known muscle car wasn't even made in the States. This bad boy came straight out of South Africa. The Perana was the brainchild of Basil Green, an ex-Formula One mechanic. He took a standard Ford Capri 300 XL Mk1 and said, "You know what this needs? A big ol' Mustang V8." And that is exactly what he did. Under the hood, you'll find a 302 cubic inch V8 engine pumping out 281 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. This setup could launch the Perana from 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds. Not too bad for a car built in 1971. And when it hit the streets, the Capri Perana V8 was hailed as one of the fastest sports cars on the African continent. Number 14. 1973 Ford Falcon XB GT. This Aussie muscle car might not be well known in the States, but it sure made waves in the land down under. Packing a 5.7-liter 352 cubic inch V8, this beast churned out 300 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque. It could hit 60 miles per hour in 6.3 seconds and top out at 132 miles per hour. Now here's the sad part. We never got this beauty on our shores. Ford had discontinued the Falcon in the US back in 1970 due to falling sales. But in Australia, well, this thing was more popular than a cold beer on a hot day. The XB GT was the last of its kind, marking the end of the Falcon GT's muscle car era in Australia. Number 13, 1970 Ford Torino GT Cobra 429. This car is what happens when Ford decides to stuff one of their biggest engines into a mid-size car. Under the hood of this beast, you will find a massive 7.0-liter Super Cobra Jet 429 V8. This monster pumped out 375 horsepower and a whopping 450 pound-feet of torque. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds and hit a top speed of 136 miles per hour. In 1970, that was enough to leave most other cars in the dust. Ford only made 1,475 of these Super Cobra Jet models, making them pretty rare birds today. They were built to compete with the likes of the Dodge Charger and Chevy Chevelle, and boy did they hold their own. These cars were heavy, which made handling a bit, well, let's say interesting. And if you drove one today, you'd probably need to buy stock in an oil company in order to keep it fueled. But hey, that's the price you pay for raw American muscle. Number 12, 1987 Ford Mustang GT 5.0. Under the hood of this beast, you will find the legendary 5.0-liter V8 pumping out 225 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. Now, those numbers might not sound impressive today, but remember, this car weighed about as much as a handful of feathers. This lightweight bruiser could hit 60 miles per hour in 6.3 seconds and top out at 143 miles per hour. That is faster than the Torino GT despite having less horsepower. The 87 GT marked a turning point for the Mustang. It got a major facelift that would define the look of the Fox body until 1993. It was sleeker, meaner, and ready to take on all. Number 11, 1963 Ford Galaxie Lightweight 427. Now this might not be the fastest car today, but boy did it pack a punch. It has got a monstrous 7.0-liter V8 engine, giving it 425 horsepower. This beast could go from 0 to 60 in just 5.6 seconds. Back in '63, that was like strapping a rocket to your backside. Ford built this car with one thing in mind: dominating the drag strip. They stripped it down, threw in some lightweight bucket seats and rubber floor mats. And if you want to get your hands on one of these beauties today, well, you better have some deep pockets. We're talking $100,000 plus at auction. But for a piece of muscle car history, well, some might say it's worth every penny. Number 10, 1994 Ford Mustang GT SVT Cobra. Fast forward to the 90s, and we have got the 1994 Ford Mustang GT SVT Cobra. Now, this might not be the most powerful Mustang ever built, but it is a testament to Ford's ability to adapt and overcome. Inside the hood, you'll find a 5.0-liter V8 pushing out 240 horsepower and 285 pound-feet of torque. That is less power than older models, but remember, this was the 90s. Emissions regulations were tightening up and Ford had to get creative. Despite the lower power output, this Cobra could still hit 60 miles per hour in 5.9 seconds and reach a top speed of 137 miles per hour. Today, you can pick up one of these future classics for around $8,000. Number 9, 2003 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra. The 2003 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra, also known as the Terminator, is a car that lives up to its nickname. This thing was sent from the future to destroy the competition. It has a supercharged 4.6-liter V8 pumping 390 horsepower and 390 pound-feet of torque. It could hit 60 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds and reach a top speed of 175 miles per hour when the limiter was removed. The Terminator Cobra was only produced for 2 years, making it a rare and highly sought-after model. It marked the end of an era for the Mustang, being the last of the Fox body-based cars. Alright, just a quick timeout here, guys. Before we move on to the rest of the video, could we please ask you for a small favor? Now, if you've enjoyed the content so far, could you just take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel? Over 98% of viewers that watch our videos do so without subscribing. It costs you absolutely nothing, but it is a really huge help to us in growing our small channel. Thanks. Alright, now let's get back into it. Number 8, 2024 Ford Mustang GT Premium. This car proves that the V8 muscle car isn't dead, it's evolving. Powering this beauty is a 5.0-liter Coyote V8 pushing out 486 horsepower and 418 pound-feet of torque. It can rocket from 0 to 60 in just 4.5 seconds. Now, what sets the 2024 GT Premium apart is its blend of old-school muscle and new-school tech. It has got all of the power that you would expect from a Mustang, but with modern amenities like a digital cockpit and advanced driver aids. This car is proof that Ford is committed to keeping the Mustang relevant in a changing automotive landscape. Number 7, 1967 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 Super Snake. This car isn't just a car, it is a legend on wheels. Under the hood of this beast, you'll find a 427 cubic inch V8 straight out of the Ford GT40 race car. We are talking 520 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque in 1967. This thing could hit 60 miles per hour in 4.3 seconds and reach a top speed of 170 miles per hour. That is faster than even some of the modern sports cars. Carroll Shelby himself oversaw the development of this car. It was supposed to be a run of 50 vehicles, but it ended up being too expensive to produce. How expensive? Well, let's just say it sold in an auction for $2.2 million. Number 6, 2016 Ford Mustang GT350. This car proved that Ford could still build a world-class muscle car in the 21st century. At the heart of the GT350 is a 5.2-liter V8. It pumps out 526 horsepower and 429 pound-feet of torque. This thing could hit 60 miles per hour in 4.3 seconds and reach a top speed of 174 miles per hour. But the GT350 wasn't just about straight-line speed. This was a Mustang that could finally hang with the best sports cars from Europe in the corners. It had a sophisticated suspension setup, massive brakes, and a chassis tuned for the track. The GT350 was Ford's way of celebrating the Mustang's 50th anniversary. Alright everyone, so we have covered some seriously impressive machines, but the best is yet to come. We are about to dive into the top 5 fastest Ford muscle cars of all time. These next 5 beasts are the cream of the crop, the pinnacle of Ford's engineering. Number 5. 2010 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. This car marked the beginning of a new era for high-performance Mustangs, with a 5.4-liter supercharged V8 producing 540 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds and reach a top speed of 190 miles per hour. In 2010, these were supercar numbers. The 2010 GT500 was more than just a straight-line monster though. Ford significantly revised the suspension, giving this Mustang handling to match its power. This GT500 was also significant because it was one of the last Mustangs overseen by Carroll Shelby himself. It's a car that bridges the gap between the Mustang's heritage and its future. Number 4. 2024 Ford Mustang Dark Horse. This beast is packing a 5.0-liter Coyote V8 that churns out a clean 500 horsepower. That is 100 horses per liter. And with 418 pound-feet of torque, this pony has got some serious kick. It can go from 0 to 60 in just 3.7 seconds. And it does it for a fraction of the price of its bigger brother, the GT500. Ford calls it the horse you didn't see coming, and they are not kidding. So what makes the Dark Horse special? Well, it's got all of the modern tech that you would expect, but it's still got that raw, visceral feel that made us fall in love with Mustangs in the first place. The Dark Horse isn't just fast, it's a bargain. You're getting near GT500 performance for a lot less cash. And let's be real, in 2024, this might just be the fastest thing Ford is putting on the road. Number 3. 2013 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 Super Snake. Now this is a car that takes the concept of too much is never enough to heart. Under the hood of this monster is a 5.8-liter supercharged V8 that pumps out a mind-bending 662 horsepower and 631 pound-feet of torque. This thing could hit 60 miles per hour in 3.7 seconds and reach a top speed of 202 miles per hour in 2013. Only 500 of these beasts were ever made, making them incredibly rare. And if you wanted one back in the day, well, you'd have to pay a pretty penny. The Super Snake package alone cost $39,995 on top of the base GT500's $54,200 price tag. It's not just a car, it is a piece of automotive history. Number 2. 2022 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 Carbon Fiber Track Pack. Now this isn't just a car, it is a weapon. At its heart is a supercharged 5.2-liter V8 producing 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. It can rocket from 0 to 60 in just 3.4 seconds and hit a top speed of 180 miles per hour. The carbon fiber track pack adds a massive rear wing, carbon fiber wheels, and removes the rear seats to save weight. What makes this GT500 special is its versatility. It can dominate at the drag strip, set blistering lap times on a road course, and then drive you home in comfort. It is the ultimate expression of what a modern muscle car can be. Number 1. 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. Now this car takes everything great about the Mustang and then cranks it up to 11. This beast has a supercharged 5.2-liter V8 producing a whopping 760 horsepower and 625 pound-feet of torque. This makes it the most powerful production car that Ford has ever built. It can rocket from 0 to 60 in just 3.3 seconds and hit a top speed that is electronically limited to 180 miles per hour. Ford engineered this car to be a track monster. It has sophisticated aerodynamics, a dual clutch transmission, and a suspension setup that can hang with the best sports cars in the world. The 2020 GT500 is a car that can do it all. So which of these Ford beasts was your favorite? Drop a comment below and tell us your top pick. And if you enjoyed this high-octane journey through Ford's lineup, why stop here? Let us know if you want to see the fastest muscle cars from another iconic manufacturer next time. Dodge, General Motors, imported manufacturer? Just drop a comment. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to hit that like and subscribe.